Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for the film Hitman. This is a film from 2023, technically, but it just came out on Netflix as of the week of the recording of this video. It's a rated R movie with a runtime of an hour and 55 minutes. Rotten Tomato score sits at 90% for the 97% for the critics, 95% for the audiences, and a 3.7 letterbox average rating. In this film, we have a mild-mannered professor moonlighting as a fake contract killer who sparks a chain reaction of trouble when he falls for a client. This is based on an article about the real person Gary Johnson. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. This is directed by Richard Linklater, who you may have seen films like Boyhood, Scanner Darkly, or School of Rock. So quite a wide plethora of things. And it stars Glenn Powell as Gary Johnson, who Glenn Powell really having a great 2024 when it comes to films. Also, Adria Arjona as Madison. We also have Austin Amelio as Jasper, Retta as Claudette, and Sanjay Rao as Phil. So, what did I think about this film? Uh, I quite enjoyed it. It was a really nice, very easy to watch film. Um, an unexpected delight because I didn't know where we were going. I didn't see a trailer for this. I didn't know what kind of film it was. I hadn't read or seen anything about it other than knowing that Glenn Powell and Adria Arjona are part of this film, which I like them both. Adria Arjona from Andor, Glenn Powell, of course, from Top Gun Maverick and a whole other stuff. We got his upcoming film Twisters that I'm very excited for. And up until doing the research for this review, I didn't know, I didn't remember Richard Linklater. I've actually seen quite a few of his films, so very interesting. This is definitely a very refreshing and unique addition to the action comedy kind of rom com genre, blending the line between a thriller with the charm of a romantic comedy. The film stands out because of its very inviting and natural dialogue, a hallmark of Linklater's work, which just lends itself to a grounded, relatable story that would make this otherwise seem like a fantastical plot. I think whenever you do something that's based on true events, there's a very small window for people to suspend their disbelief. But I think this movie very easily clears that threshold. One of the film's strongest assets, in my opinion, is the dialogue. I think Linklater knows. He's known for his skillful writing. Glenn Powell co-wrote the movie with Linklater, so they're very much both involved in this. I wonder how much of this was Glenn Powell actually writing the film, and maybe Glenn Powell just uh, doing changes as they were shooting things, because he is the main character. A lot of that could have came from him. So yeah, I don't know if maybe there was so much improvisation or so many changes at the time of shooting that could have led to that. But it just feels very natural, and it really draws the viewer in, making you feel part of this story, part of this world, and lending to the believability of these characters. Even as the plot kind of it takes a few wild turns here and there. So the characters on the Hitman are, although we don't have a big cast, especially not a big recognizable cast, which I think it's a strength, right? I think it would draw us away from the adventure and the disbelief if we saw people that we recognize all over the place. But it's driven just by two standout performances from the cast, with great performances by the supporting cast as well. And I think it just emerges into a fresh narrative that keeps the audience engaged. And I think the leads in particular, they just exude charisma, making it very easy for audiences to root for them, even at times where you might have some questions about their morality. Their chemistry is also very palpable on the screen. Their interactions are filled with playful energy that is pretty infectious when you're watching this. And these performances just elevate the film, ensuring that even in its most outlandish moments, that the audience kind of remains emotionally invested. Um, this film definitely keeps the audience guessing. Just when you think you kind of figured out where things are going, a twist or a little turn or a change of events kind of happens. And I think it's this unpredictability that just it's one of the movie's strengths. It maintains a high level of excitement and intrigue all throughout. Each of these twists just kind of feel very natural, part of the story. And as I mentioned, knowing that this is sort of based on true events, I think it adds for a very interesting layer to the film. It just kind of adds to the film's dynamic and the fast-paced storytelling. At its core, I think this film is a romantic comedy, very cleverly disguised as a kind of a um, not really action, but yeah, I guess more of an action thriller. The romance is pretty sweet and engaging once we get to it, providing a counterbalance to the high stakes of the mystery and everything that's going on. I think the juxtaposition of the trouble that's going on with the way that these characters are involved with each other is handled very well, and I think that creates a thrilling and endearing film. The romantic elements are never overshadowed, but also it kind of complements every scene. So every scene just really builds and drives into the next thing and raises the stakes, especially emotionally for the characters and how we feel about them. Now, while Hitman, it's mostly well paced, I think the runtime is a little long. There are a few scenes and sequences that I feel like we're kind of maybe rehashing some points. There's a few bits of exposition, specifically at the college, where it's kind of like nodding a little bit at the audience. And although I enjoyed a few of those, I think maybe there was a few too many. So, but it's really very minor. It's not a big deal. I think maybe 10 minutes would have been, taking 10 minutes out of this would have been probably made for a much, much tighter film. But overall, it's just a very delightful and fun romp that successfully brings in the excitement of this action kind of thriller with the charm of a romantic comedy. Like it's a very, very interesting mix of genres, and I think Linklater's naturalistic dialogue just really adds to the film. With the performances that were great, very heartfelt and entertaining, and despite a few of my issues that I mentioned earlier, I think the film, it's very well done, very well performed. I keep wondering how some of these films kind of fall through the cracks to end up in a streaming service because I think this would have found an audience at the theater. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know, what do you think of Hitman if you've seen it. And as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.